Hi there, everybody. Great to be here for our Transform workshop. Now, this is a three-part series, okay? I like to go straight in and I like to keep it short and sweet because we need time to do implementation and for you to also get back to me with any questions that you're having, any concerns, um, and maybe even just in like how do I actually take this into my life as well. Okay, so the first part of this is so this workshop, first of all, is very much it's all pre-recorded. Okay, so you might be watching the live stream, you can watch the replay. For me, I think live is great, but I don't want you running around trying to attend something live and then it's not available. I just think it doesn't work well for especially when you are running the show, when you're doing a lot at home and you're doing a lot of work. And I just think live doesn't always work, in my opinion. So therefore, you will be able to have access to this replay. You can either email me or DM me on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, or in the comments of YouTube, any questions you have. Okay. So this workshop is called Transform, right? It's all about how to heal, how to earn, lead, and love, starting with self-love and family love, and how to actually then put this into igniting your calling into your own business service, and how you can do this by earning 10K months, starting with that six-figure year salary in your own business. Okay. And you can do this as I do. I'm working as a doctor as well. And this right here is me doing my business literally like in my lunch breaks, doing it in my own time. And for me, it's very much about faith, family, fitness first. Okay, so I'm a mom. I've got two cute little boys, age 6 and 8, and happy married to my soulmate too. So I think all of these things are important, and that's why I want to work on each of these pillars. But my goal really here is to really help you to be able to earn six figures in your own business that you create, that is really your purpose-led business, and in a position to, if you wanted to leave your job, you can. You can do it alongside me if you would like to, but the whole point is it's financial freedom, but it's also inviting you to really heal and lead at home as well as in work and in your way with true self-love. Okay, so and you can replace your job salary with this as well. You can help to raise the consciousness of the collective. This is really deep transformational work, okay, that I want you to really delve deep into. It is not always about spending a lot of time. It is about being very intentional and focused. And I do firmly believe that you can have it all. It does take intention, it does take focus, it does take mentorship, and it does take community as well. But ultimately, it is you that, and I mean this with love, but it has to do the work. Nobody can do that work for you from a mindset point of view and also from a leadership and business point of view as well. Okay, it's only you, all right? And I've been there, and it's not easy. I'm not going to say it's easy. I don't think it has to be hustle and grind, but yeah, it's not easy at all right? So I want to delve straight into the first module of this workshop, okay, which is healing, okay? So I've got some key points down here below that I want you can either make notes if you want, or you can just take it into your mind, okay? You don't have to make notes, but it is there if you want to as well. So healing, first of all, is the first pillar. Okay, so for me, I like to really focus on these core pillars. Healing is the first step in my warrior heart method. So heart meaning healing, earning and empowerment, and economy. So creating your own economy. A is for awakening, and really awakening cells in your sleep, awakening the wealthy warrior leader within, who is calm and balanced with the masculine and the feminine energies within you, balanced beautifully. It is R for rising up. Okay, so rising up despite challenges, despite obstacles, despite opposition, despite resistance, rising up no matter what. And that's why I've called this wealthy warrior leaders. But it's not necessarily about fighting. It's more about that courage and that strength. And then T, which is thriving and transformation, okay, which is why we're here in Transform Workshop, right? So this is all about leadership, which starts with that of the self, of your family, whatever family is to you, and then of your global business service. Okay. And within that leadership comes love, right? So love, it all starts with love with yourself. Your relationships around you are an extension and a mirror of the love that you actually have for yourself. Sometimes there is a bit of a lag effect. Okay, so you are on the right path. If you're here, you're definitely on the right path. And there is an element of patience, and there is sometimes a slight lag effect as well. But definitely it is always worth focusing on yourself. It's not being selfish. In fact, it's being self-full, okay, which really ensures that you can create the life that you want for you and for your family, obviously, as well. It's about really taking responsibility, as well as also being a spiritual gangster, right? Being a spiritual warrior and co-creating with the divine. Okay, so I'm very spiritual. So we'll be talking a lot about the divine, and you can input God or whatever that means for you. So I really see my work also as being a vehicle for the divine and my purpose here as well. Okay, as well as being like peak performance and leadership work as well. So we're not trying to fix ourselves here, okay? Like, I want you, this work, this deep work is also about coming from a place of wholeness from within, right here, right now, okay? You're not broken. But yes, often, I find that with business, especially, and spirituality, it is the greatest personal development program, okay? Because it really calls you to look at your shadow self, to actually embrace it, to look at your paradigms, which means your stories that are no longer serving you. And often you may find this in each chapter in life, for example, parenthood, marriage, your business, as you go from 5 figures to 6 figures to 7 figures, etc., as you go from different leadership positions, it's an all evolution, it's all a growth, okay? But within that, I have often find that there are remnants of healings that crop up at each stage of evolution. So it kind of doesn't end. Now, that doesn't mean you're healing forever, but it means that there are elements that are cropping up. And, my mentor, Bob Proctor, used to call this terror barrier, but actually I see it more as this is just as we evolve and as we grow, okay, whether that's more in the outward sense in terms of our business or our careers or in our family, spiritually, like however you want to look at that, it will trigger and cause resistance in those around you in some shape or form, whether it's the system or literally people around you, or whatever it is, but it will cause resistance, which is actually the unhealed parts of you and parts around you to be triggered, okay? Because it's a complete contrast. So you are evolving, and then those things that are no longer on that same frequency, because you're not on that frequency anymore. You're not having the same paradigm, the same stories, the same habits, even maybe even the same thoughts, right? Even the same activities. So when you're not on that level, you are rising up. Okay, it doesn't mean you're better than other people, but you are rising up in consciousness, in your thoughts, in peak performance and self-discipline, which you now see is actually self-love, right? When you do it in the right way from a place of wholeness, not lack. And because of that, you are rising up. So naturally, those people or situation or stories or even your job or whatever it is not going to be in alignment with your new thoughts and your new habits and all these beautiful new things that you are doing. So as you meet resistance, don't come back down, okay? You got to stay there. And that's when you've got to really anchor in. That's when you've got to use personal development, peak performance concepts such as discipline and consistency. Because when you're doing that, what you're doing is you're anchoring in, okay? So you've got to really see it almost like you're starting a weight loss regime. I mean, forget about the weight loss, but let's just say health, whereby you're like, okay, I'm doing exercise, you've got to put the reps in, right? Like, you can't just be like, oh, I worked out for 3 hours today, and so I'm not going to do anything for like the next 1 week. Like, it doesn't work like that. It's better, you need to do something consistently every day. You don't have to do 3 hours every day, but you're, even if it's 10 minutes, but you're now doing that consistently every day. And it's not just, and here's the big thing, it's not just the activity you're doing. It is the embodiment. It is who you are becoming in that process. Okay, so what does that mean? It means I am this person now who just loves having my black coffee, right? Because I'm doing intermittent fasting. I'm really enjoying that, and I feel that sense of lightness and fulfillment and I'm really enjoying it, right? So it's an embodiment. It's not, oh, I have to like not fast from this time to this time. Oh gosh, I hate it. No, right? So you are embodying it. Obviously, you have to do what works for you. I'm really enjoying walking, right? Like my 10,000 steps. So, okay, I love walking the kids to school, or I love walking back with them, or I love getting my walking pad and, that we're playing our game together. Maybe I'm on my walking pad. Maybe that seems weird to you, but like, I'm also leading by example for my family, showing that exercise is important, right, for parents to do for self-care, right? It's important, for women to honor their cycles. What cardio looks like in their luteal phase is going to look different to other phases, right? It's really important to honor that. And they're seeing that too, right? So I want you to really honor your healing. This is all about releasing patterns that keep you stuck. So I want you to really think about the version of you that is earning the income that you want to earn. So that's 6 figures, that's 7 figures, is earning it in less hours. Now, this isn't magic. This doesn't get a quick scheme, okay? It doesn't work like that. But I do really need you to hone in on a specific number. Maybe what is that number for your salary right now? Okay, so what is that 6 figures? Like, write it down. And what does that mean for you? Like, maybe it means that you can then reduce hours at work, or you can go on more holidays, or upgrade, or you can do other things for your family, right? Whatever it is, okay, you got more time with your family. So recently, for example, I was able to cut down my weekend work. I wasn't able to cut down working in the evenings. I was able to cut down. I used to work early morning as well, from 6 a.m. So I was able to really just cut down many, many hours. As my business has been growing, all right, to multi 6 figures, which I'm grateful for. And as we are now in, I think it's over 56 countries and over 150 clients. So, and all of that is not just it's not just titles and things to say, it's to show impact as well in my work, which I feel is more than what I'm able to do just in one-to-one as a doctor. So it's not just number of people, it's also depth of transformation too, as well as for me, right? And I feel like I'm becoming my most healthiest, not just in my body, but in my mind, in my spirituality, in my role as mother and wife, as well as being doctor and teacher and healer and coach and author, right? So I feel like it's becoming more harmonious, more in harmony and alignment. And in that process, there is often a lot of contrast and sometimes resistance in many different shapes and forms and colors. But it's called me to further anchor in to the embodiment characteristics. This is really key, okay? It's the embodiment characteristics of this version of me that I'm becoming, right? And that I am right now, not becoming, I be it. So I am it right here, right now, if that makes sense. So therefore, it's not about pushing back. So when you're creating a new paradigm, a new habit, a new story, a new narrative, a new way of doing things, first of all, it's not toxic positivity. You're not lying to yourself. All emotions are valid, okay? All emotions are normal. All emotions are valid. However, obviously, most people would not want to be predominantly in a state of anxiety or anger or guilt or fear. And in my membership, Legacy Leaders, in Heal, and in my mastermind for my clients, we do go really much deeper into this. So if you do want to join, come and join us. It's only $47 per month. You can even try it out for 1 month if you want, for just $47. And in that you get, daily group coaching. Listen, I'm in there daily, and giving you really in-depth feedback as well, often like a voice note even, or like a long paragraph, just to really help as many people as I can with in-depth as well. And like these recordings, you can watch them whenever it suits you, the module. So we really go deep into that, because I think that's really important. And you might feel, well, what does this have to do with me just wanting to start a business and getting on with it? It's not just the strategy, okay? It's the soul behind it. It is, I can give you the best strategy here. You can earn 6 figures in the next 90 days, and you can do it through coaching and do this. And here's my funnel template, and become an author within a week, which I've done all of those things. But what I found is it wasn't just the strategy. There can be a lot of obstacles, perceived obstacles, that can come up because of basically healing that needs to happen. And that's important to do it alongside. It's not just mindset. It's actual deep emotional healing. There's actually a reason why you want to do this, and there may be having to change definitions around being successful and what does that mean for me, not for you, not for this person, not for your spouse, not for your mom, not for your colleague, not for your friend, not for your sister, but for you specifically. What is your definition of success or fulfillment or happiness, self-love or worthiness? That would have changed, right, over the last many years and over the last few life chapters. So that's why you're here now, because that definition is now being challenged. And so I'm really calling you to look at that and to heal those old versions, which we're grateful for, right? Because it got us here. But it's now calling for a new version of us, and that has to come from within, right? So this will then lead me on to my second module, which is then leaning more into earning. And then the third module, which is more into leading and loving, right? So we'll go a bit deeper into that. But I just think this is really important, because especially as a professional woman, I think, there are many different ways of doing this, especially if you're a mother, and in terms of childcare and spending that time with your kids and that being a present parent. And I'm really big on growth mindset in kids, and just very compassionate, loving families that are also highly effective and ambitious. I think that's really important, and that we have to model that first for our kids. It's not just about activities, okay? In my opinion, activities are important, but it's really about that family love and then the expression of that in doing that activity with them, right? It's not just the activity that we can't always just delegate out to others. And I know that is not easy. I know that's not easy. This is just my opinion, might be an unpopular opinion. It does make it sometimes a lot more for you to do, but I just feel like that is the biggest growth I've seen in my kids, and even in as me as even in my adulthood as well. So I just feel like as a woman, especially, I'm not saying it's just for women, but for me, I do find it, you can often carry guilt, wondering, how to sort of parent, as when you're also working full time. And it's not just the hours of work, that's the difference. It's not just the hours of work, it's what kind of work you're doing in that hour, okay? And this isn't belittling any industries or roles, but yeah, it can be very different when you're doing face-to-face, as a doctor, I'm doing face-to-face consults all day, is very different sometimes. Also leading a client or a patient through a consultation, and there are people who do meetings, and then there are some where it's more workload and case-based, which I did before, which can be very heavy, but then sometimes you don't have to do something in that exact moment. You can spread your week around. I mean, it varies. There's pros and cons of all different ways of working. But what I'm saying is that you have to really find, because this is what makes a difference in business, you need to really look at your own bespoke business model to you that works for you. It's not a one size fits all, okay? When I started business, I remember often people saying, oh yeah, just do sales calls in your lunch break, and after in the evening. And I was just like, I'm with my kids, like, how am I supposed to do that? And it doesn't make you less committed or less successful in your business. If you decide that that's not the way you want to do things, okay? And I'm here to tell you, you don't need to do sales calls. You don't need it. There is work involved. I do think sales calls are a brilliant way to really connect and understand your market and those that you're serving. I do think that's really important. But there are other ways to do it too, whereby you're not taking any shortcuts. You're still doing the principles of engagement, of having conversations. But there are other ways of doing that as well, okay? And I go deep into that, into the membership as well. So I think these concepts are really important to cover, because I found often in my business, especially with working as well, for me, number one, this was not just like some side hustle, like just to earn some money inside, get a rich quick scheme. For me, I was really like, oh, do I want to leave medicine? And in the end, obviously I didn't. But I had to really look for different ways. I had to really look at, who am I without the Dr. Vidya? Like, who am I? It's just Vidya. And really look at my self-worth and my self-love, and how, respect for myself and love for myself aside from that, but still actually then really loving it and love being and I see it as more as being a healer, or helping people with their self-healing, depending on how you want to look at it. And I love it. I'm really into my chakra healing, my aura healing, as well as being a conventional medic. I'm a consultant family physician, and I really enjoy that. So I think you can be multifaceted and multidimensional, and serve in so many beautiful ways. I think that's really important to honor that. And I think that we need to remove this narrative of like ambition and success just looking a certain way. And that's, for me, business has really helped in that I'm able to do it from home. It's really helped with my career as well, ironically. So I've become award-winning as a doctor as well as being a coach. And so what I'm saying is actually it can help with your personal mission. So you really need to look at exactly what that is and heal any definitions and habits and narratives and paradigms that just no longer are in alignment. But you can do it from a place of gratitude. You have to be angry. You can do it from a place of gratitude for those previous ways of working and previous lessons learned and ways of moving forward. And actually we had to grow, not go, but grow through that, right, in order to get to where we are here, as a person, as a woman, maybe also as a mother, as a daughter, as a sister, and all of these beautiful things, right, as a wife, you know, how all, whatever your sort of life roles are, and also in your career, because often I find in reaching to a certain level in my career, it was a very masculine way. And by masculine, I mean like the energy. So masculine energy and feminine energy, divine masculine, divine feminine, is something we all have, by the way, regardless of gender, okay? It's a common misconception. So women also have masculine energy, just like we also have testosterone, okay? But this conversation is around the energy, not testosterone, but I'm saying it's all there. But there are situations and phases of life that call for us to be more in our masculine energy, and there are other situations that call us more to be in feminine, and it's fluid, right? And you might find that in different dynamics as well. So it's not the gender, okay, it's the situation and dynamic. And you need to be within yourself that mature masculine and mature feminine, balanced within yourself, right? But obviously there are times you're more in your feminine and you're more in your masculine, okay? And I feel like as a professional woman, there are many times when I've had to be much more my masculine and this kind of hustle culture. Now you still have to work, you still have to put in a lot of work and action, okay? That's important to note. You really do have to get things moving. You still have to take action, right? Like, I'm very spiritual, but I can't just meditate all day. I then have to take action. But that is the inspiration in spirit. That is the guidance I've received from my meditation, from my prayer, from reading my spiritual texts, and then leaning into, okay, this is what's come to me in that moment, or you might call it channeling or guidance or prayers, you know, whatever you want to see it. And then you're leaning into, okay, actually taking action on that, right? Like me right here doing this masterclass with you, right? Or you might have to make the funnel, right? You might have to create a course. You might have to set up a portal or create a Facebook group, or, you know, whatever it is, right? So you're then taking action. So that's your bespoke business model, because it's giving you the guidance as well. And then, yes, you need the strategy on, okay, how exactly is it that I do that, okay? So that's what I want you to really lean into for this first module, is literally just writing down like paradigms, habits, situations, maybe even people, that things are just no longer in alignment, and anything that is also causing pain and anxiety and that side of things, and then really like burning that piece of paper, okay, as a form of just letting go, and like, I'm done with that, and that perspective, okay? Now I know that doesn't just let go of the whole situation of challenges and difficulties you might be experiencing, but it is marking a new, from now, this is day one, okay? And we're moving forward now into the next chapter, right? A new chapter. So this is a rebirth, this is Phoenix risen, okay? So then I want you to get a fresh sheet of paper, and I want you to write down this whole thing, this whole situation, this whole narrative, everything, but the complete opposite, how you want it to be. And I want you to start it with, I am so happy and grateful now that, so in the present tense, it can even be in the past tense, but it is done, okay? So the income, the health, the stories, the narrative, the predominant feeling, all emotions are normal, but the predominant emotion you're in, so joy, happiness, peace, fulfillment, okay? And then what are you doing in your day? Like, are you enjoying doing masterclasses like this? Maybe you're not. Maybe, what does it look like for you? Are you an author? And like, why? Not just to call yourself an author, but why? Like, you know, what is it that you really want to teach? What do you feel like you're here to teach? And it doesn't always have to be inventing the wheel, right? Reinventing the wheel. It can be because anything, it's just like how there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of GPs, right? But the way I do it is very different. Okay, do you see what I mean? We all have the same nice guidelines and medical guidelines, and well, in some countries, so we all have the same medical guidelines, but the way we interpret it in a safe and appropriate way is important, right? And the way that we communicate that, we just thought about the throat chakra, the way we use our inspiration and our guidance, our intuition, our third eye, the way we communicate that, the way we connect with other human beings, right? And the way we continue to hone our craft. These are all things which are very unique to us. And it's also something that we are responsible for doing as well, okay? So first of all, I'm here to tell you, you can start your six-figure business. You can do it whilst working in a very, very ambitious career as well. You can. It is going to take work. I'm not going to lie. Okay, it is going to take work, but it doesn't have to be hustle and grind. This is why I also focus on physical health, like looking at your number of steps and your green smoothies. I think that's really important. And also, we're not doing this as some side hustle. This is a rebirth, okay? And you can take your career along with you. It can be, your career can go through an evolution, or you can funnel it into your own business, your own way of doing this. And I like to do it all online personally, but we also do like retreats and masterminds and in-person events. It's kind of however you want to do it. But the beauty is you can do it from home. You don't need to commute anywhere. You can really prioritize your self-care and self-love, and really sometimes, in my opinion, you can serve more people, right? You can serve more people and more deeply. And you can do this with your faith and your family and your fitness first and your finances, right? And you can do this whilst paying off the mortgage or overpaying it, and really just gaining just really deep fulfillment, for like why you feel you're here, and you're in a purpose-led business, okay? So come and join me in my membership. It's called Legacy Leaders. It's only $47 per month. You get monthly new masterclasses there, daily group coaching. We go through Q&As. There are other things I do. I also do one-to-one coaching as well, if that's something that you would like to do, whether it's in any of those pillars, more in terms of healing, more in terms of earning, in terms of your six-figure service business. And this is for whether you are a professional woman, a coach, an entrepreneur, a service-led. I'm here to basically help people who are helping people, okay? So I'm sending you so much love and light. The next module will be on earning, and then the third one will be on leading and loving, okay? So drop a comment down below if you would like access to those other two modules, if you don't already. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next modules. Love and light to Life Mastery people. Thanks for joining. Bye.